gross.
Is it from IKEA?
No, from Salvation Army.
Okay.
$7.99, baby.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
it is a nice card playing table. It's great, but not so much for a shared desk.
As opposed to a card folding table or maybe a card, freezing table, something like that,
Yeah, card illustration table if you make your own at home.
Yeah,
That's probably somebody's hobby now, designing cards.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man. That had to have been a job. By the way, John Danek's on the show. Hey, John.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Thanks for having me, guys.
John, before we get into exactly card illustration, because that's a very fun job to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe just me, but I don't know, because they are different. I have noticed that like Jokers and everything. We'll get.
Oh yeah, this is actually a subject I'm kind of knowledgeable on.
Are you really? Oh no, we will get into that. But tell people
it.
where they can find you, like social media stuff, any stuff that you do creatively. Anything.
Sure. My name is John Danek. On the internet, I am a comedy writer. I write for The Hard Times, which is my number one end-all, be-all kind of creative effort right now.
Awesome.
But I also am involved with writing for Pittsburgh Unfiltered, which is run by another Hard Times writer, Chuck Kowalski, and sometimes write for McSweeney's, and whenever people ask me to get involved with things.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, hell yeah. And is you have a social media handle that you post the stuff or a mainly, or is it just like your
at JJ Danek? You can find me on Twitter and or Instagram.
Hell yeah. We DM often.
Yeah, we do.
You slide into those DMs.
Yeah. It's hard not to. It's like, and it's always like, I feel like it's us heaping praise somewhat or like kind of like, or it's usually, I mean, I feel like it's a lot of times it's mutual admiration. And I admire a lot of things about you. It's not just your talents, but your interest. Please, God, tell me how you know that they're. I mean, you had to have known this, but you've done the research on card illustration?
Just a little bit, in that when I was in high school, probably maybe only 9th grade, I briefly got very into card magic and like sleight of hand magic.
Nice. For the ladies, obviously.
So
I would have been into that.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, like, I'm a very anxious performer. I don't really perform much in any capacity, but like when I would do this, I would get so nervous that a trick was about to go wrong that it like just ruined whatever sense of confidence a magician is supposed to have.
You had no poker face for your magic tricks, if that makes sense.
No,
yeah, you definitely need a poker face.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I do love Lady Gaga too.
But that just transitioned to your fashion sense. Like you're trying to make meat hats, right? That's the other thing that you're here to pitch, right?
Yeah. No, but I got really into card magic, so I was buying all these like old, I mean, relatively old, from like the 20s, like textbooks that are considered kind of the classic tomes of card magic, and they were mostly written by French guys. And I just remember like they had all these sections of like which cards work better than others. Everyone knows the classic bicycle brand.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, that's why they're always on bicycles, because they're French.
I made that connection.
Yeah.
If you're doing magic, the cards you want are B brand, BEE, because the design on the back goes all the way to the edges instead of having a white border.
That's the one I like. That's the one that that's the big fat spade one. Like
those feel like professional cards.
Yeah.
Most casinos have those. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know how I also knew that like card illustration and stuff like that started around French stuff like that. It's how the Joker stands. Like how he's just like, woo, like he's all like whimsical. He seems so whimsical. You know what I mean? Like it seems
so
like
only French can be whimsical.
No. I'm just saying. Now hold on a second, counselor. 1 second now.
Please elaborate.
I'm saying like it's a gesture, right? Like you would think of immediately, but it had a little like there was just a little bit of twinge of mime French?
Yeah.
Damn.
I think that's where they originate from.
I think so. Yeah.
Nailed it.
There's a certain French quality to like that pose.
Yeah, the little like it's like it makes me think of the I was gonna say laugh now, cry later. Is that right? No, the smiling and sad face.
Oh yeah.
Tragedy.
Oh, like the theater mask.
Yeah.
That's what I think of. So
is that French?
Are we just asking you questions? About Let the man get back the cards. But no. So you got so into like magic and sleight of hand stuff like that, you were like, I got to know the roots of like
of cards.
where this comes from.
Yeah, and this was like right before YouTube. I don't even know if this would have been like 2002, so I don't know that YouTube really existed yet. So it was just like books.
Yeah.
And I would get these books and I would use like my family camcorder and like film myself doing the moves to see like if you could see from a certain angle, if it's like, obvious what I'm doing.
That's smart. Yeah, that's
like,
really smart.
At a certain point I was like decent, but then I just kind of fell away from it.
Yeah. I think it's like that's something that I got interested in, but I never committed to it. I think that was the thing is I like the sleight of hand stuff. But I definitely I like the performance part of it. I think that's what it was. I like the kind of thing of like tricking people. I like that thing. I think that's the thing.
You feel really powerful when it goes off correctly.
It's like the same thing with like a joke. Like I feel like it's the same thing as like this thing.
Well, and you have to have that confidence to be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
To be like, this is real magic. I just made this happen. You're like, what did you do?
No matter how you see this joke, you're going to be amazed. Watch this.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
And diarrhea. Am I right? You know what I mean? It's funny though that's the same vein. It's the same. It's like the performance vein. So like, so you never performed really? Or like you just don't feel comfortable performing.
It's just something I've only a few years ago I had a band and that was kind of my first foray into public performing in really any capacity other than the one-off, maybe playing music at an open mic night or like a high school talent show. Other than that, it's been a lot of, I'm kind of like a bedroom warrior.
Yeah.
Like I have all my music gear.
I was going to say, where's the pedal board? Hell yeah. I saw the pedal board. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, and honestly, and that's the thing is like, there's something to that because in a way you are because that was a career path that I was honestly trying to pursue for a little bit was like, I was like, man, I would fucking love to just be like a session musician, like just a studio, like, oh, you need a bass track? Okay, cool. Like, like some a backing guitar riff or what about that or something like that. Like stuff like that like obviously can be digitized now and kind of enhanced. And that's a lot of filters and stuff. But I love that element. I love the live performance aspect of it. You know what I mean?
And it's so fun. And I know you get to experience that in the comedian capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dominique, are you a stand-up comedian?
No. I love it. Like I love partaking.
Just exotic dancing.
Yeah. Have you ever done it or tried it?
No, I have absolutely no desire. I could not. I don't mind public speaking. Like I can do that at work. Like I'm totally fine with that, but just to get up there and like try to make like the pressure and anxiety to be like I have to perform like that. No. I would like die. I'd have a heart attack.
And the thing that blows my mind about stand-up
No. You would overdose in a hotel room. Sorry, to be more factually accurate, that would technically be your death. I feel like.
Yeah.
But sorry, what were you saying?
The thing that blows my mind about stand-up comedy, which is something I've always wanted to try, and I did agree with somebody that like I will try this year. A friend of mine and I said if we're allowed to go back in public again, if that's permissible, we're going to do it this year. Just because I want to know what it feels like. But the thing about stand-up that's crazy is that you don't know if something works until you're doing it in front of a crowd. Yeah,
that's the only way.
I can practice in my bedroom for hours, weeks, months, and I can be confident that like I can perform this.
Actually, it's so funny that you're even talking about it in that sense because you just posted that video of you playing piano on your balcony. Oh no, keyboard or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was. I had that same thought that you were of like that of trying. That was my biggest thing with. I think that was the thing that ended up leading me from music to comedy. That is a through line. Is that level of hell yeah.
I tried to do that sneakily because I didn't want to interrupt you.
No way you can do that.
No, you're good. You're good.
Wait, what are you drinking, by the way?
Oh, it is a
free plug.
AleSmith 394 Pale Ale made in collaboration with Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn.
I absolutely love that can.
Yeah,
I set it aside specifically for this podcast. I got it on Monday. And I was like, or Sunday, and I'm like, I'm gonna save this one for the podcast recording.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I have my Spotify my Spotify wine, I call it. It has a Spotify playlist that it also has a screw top, so that's how you know.
It has a Spotify playlist with it.
Yeah.
I haven't really.
He hasn't even listened to it yet.
But I'll post a picture of it. But there's a I'll send you a picture too. There's like a.
You should put the link when you share this.
It's like four. Yeah, I'll see if I can get a sponsorship. I've talked about them on multiple podcasts. Now, but I not by name. But it's like there's like listen on Spotify. There's like a playlist that goes along with this wine, but it looks so cheap, obviously, on a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to be like. Oh, listen on Spotify.
Check us out on Spotify.
Scan the QR code.
I'll bet you $10 that Frank Sinatra is on that playlist.
Can I go get the bottle?
Hold on, no. I'll just look at. Let me just look it up right now.
That's true.
Okay.
Go ahead.
But I only say that because I love all music, and there are not many acts that I hate, but I can't stand Frank Sinatra.
Oh my gosh, you too.
This is what I've been telling you. This is what I was trying to tell her before the podcast. Is the fact that the reason you're on the podcast, not only because you're an excellent musician, a very talented and very funny writer, and just all around great person, but the fact that we share, I think, so far, if I can just think offhand, just things I can just name, like 3 or 4 different things that we see almost identically eye to eye. Frank Sinatra, for such a fucking tough guy, he sings a lot about dancing, if you ask me. Oh, baby, let's go out dancing, baby. He sings like somebody that's making fun of
his actual singing.
Yeah.
Every impersonation of Frank Sinatra is just Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Like, oh, blue eyes. Oh, he's mob connected. Oh no. You know what I mean?
That's the only cool thing about it.
Yeah, it's the only cool thing.
And I love that era of guys like, like the Mob and Vegas and like all of that. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I would have loved to live during that time.
I think
fashion
nailed it. Yep.
Let's see. I think I may have found it. Hold on. I'll just go downstairs and find it because
that'd be way easier.
But to me, it's Frank Sinatra is so. What I guess what that is it just the lack of talent with him, or is it like the fake machismo? What do you think it is about Frank Sinatra that you hate? Like mainly.
Oh, I've never thought about it that deeply. I think it's
Pat has.
Man, I have. That's just that's my first thing because like I heard it once like shopping and I heard him say something like, "Oh, we could have danced." Like
fly it was just me to the moon or something.
And it's just like, "Oh, you nerd!" Like because dancing is like, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I just thought there's 2 reasons. One is that I think the reason that I listen to music most is for a good, satisfying melody, a catchy melody, and somehow he sings. He doesn't talk or rap. He sings in a way that almost like eliminates the melody. Because he's like doing this talk singing thing where like there are notes there, but it doesn't satisfy.
He's
the melody
flat. Like his spirit is flat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't believe
cool
that.
To have like real emotion, like painful emotion, which is what I like in music.
He doesn't qualify to sing about love. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, when you can get every girl ever, like how heartbroken can you be?
Yeah. Oh, we could have danced. Like you couldn't have just said to her, and because of the time, bitch, get over here. Do you know what I mean? And say like, dude, it's not. I'm not saying that it's okay. Yeah. I'm just saying that's the time. You know, it's the time and place. You know, it's not okay. I don't condone it, but he would have had his way with any lady, and any lady would have been in her eyes. You know. She would have been like, oh, the fainting thing that they always do, because now we figure that out with Cosby. But sorry, what's the second thing?
The second is a similar reason that I dislike Dave Matthews, and it's because people latch on to certain artists. How do I phrase this? Oh, I'm going to sound like such a pretentious idiot saying this.
Do it anyways.
Like, people who love those things are like, they think that they're big music fans, but they're very easy people to like latch onto.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't require any investment on your part because like Frank Sinatra is everywhere. Right. It's massively popular. And it's not just like you can't like popular things, but there's nothing challenging about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is like because that's the thing is I love Dave Grohl, but I know who Dave Grohl is. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing is I'm not one of those people that goes like somebody goes like, oh man, I love the Foo Fighters. I go, really? Do you?
Yeah, it's like,
first of all, you love Dave Grohl. It's all Dave Grohl. It's everybody Dave Grohl. If you ever seen the bass player for the Foo Fighters, you know it's just Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
He's going like, here you go, play this. There you go. And they go, thanks, pal. You know what I mean? And again, but I learned because of wanting that session musician job, like I would love if Dave Grohl wrote songs and I get to just hang out. Like, who was your friend from that you worked with that new Under Oath? Or could have been in the other band. He could have been in another band. What was it? Evanescence.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he started with Under Oath. Then he ended up leaving. Yeah. Well, he ended up leaving, and then immediately after they blew up, and then Evanescence reached out to him, and he was like, no, because you guys are like, we are not a Christian band. And he was very Christian. So he's like, I can't work for...
Hence the Under Oath.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they blew up right after that. So it was like he had 2 opportunities to make it big. And he like just missed out.
Yeah, the place that she met him, Octavio. Well, you didn't have to say his name.
Oh, sorry.
But you know, I mean, both of those bands, I'm sure, just have a rotating member every week, every tour probably. At that point, I learned about that a lot too through like people. The reason like Green Day doesn't let you know who the hell that other guitar player is and all this other shit. It's just
like celebrating royalties.
It's just like it's just cheaper to not make them part of the band.
Yeah,
he's not in Green Day. You wanted to see Green Day. Here we are. That's not them. But that's the thing is the session musician like thing about that, like Dave Grohl or anything like that, is like he's a talented musician, but like if you had a 4-track and you know what I mean, and like exposure, you could put out some fucking bangers. You know what I mean? Like you'd put out hits. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's the thing. I'm not saying again. See now who's making you sound pretentious? I'm saying you're just the same as Dave Grohl.
No.
Give him a drum set and a guitar, and he can do anything.
I've had that exact thought so many times, but like then you have to think like, but it did take. There was that period of time where they weren't anything, and it did take a lot of luck and effort and skill on their part to get to the point where they could just fart out something with a 4-track and people will like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you kind of just triggered a thought in my head of, so I took piano lessons from kindergarten until 12th grade. And that whole time I had one piano teacher, an awesome guy named Joe, who I'm still friends with to this day. When I go home to Pennsylvania, we get breakfast together. And I remember like I was in high school and we were just like talking about bands and like making the music. And I was like, man, I feel bad for like any band who's a one-hit wonder because they just have to play that one song every single concert for the rest of their lives. And he was like, what? Like, I don't feel bad for any of them because they made a piece of music that people want to hear. Like, do you know how rare that is? How many people have tried like writing songs in their bedrooms, been in bands, and nobody ever cares? Like, just getting a morsel of somebody caring about something you made is so unlikely. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So
that is such a great perspective because I've had that thought. We went to a casino and they had like a cover band playing and everyone's having a great time. And I was just like, I just feel bad for these guys. Like they're not playing their own music. They're just playing other people's music.
It was Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. That's who it was. No,
it wasn't. No. But they were like, they covered Who Let the Dogs Out. Yeah. Like it was awful, but I just felt so bad. And then I think somebody was like, yeah, but if they like just playing music, like they get to play music in front of people. That's they get paid for it.
But that is the sadder story because that's the thing is those people are playing someone else's one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
The Baja Men go out there to play their one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I feel like I've had some really weird like obviously I have weird opinions on music and everything like that, but like things like that I'm definitely opinionated, but also like I know like I'm not necessarily wrong. Like I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that like so that's the thing. I learned luckily early on and I think this helped me musically because I played I mean, and I want the list of all your instruments, but I started playing saxophone. This is a fun story that I happened across on a past show. I remember every time the mailman UPS driver used to come down the street when I was a kid,
Mhm.
I was convinced for some reason, I don't know where the story started exactly, but I was convinced that the UPS driver was going to bring me a saxophone. I was dead set on it. So
Did you have any reason for thinking so?
I have no idea. I have no idea where that even came from. I think I had a toy saxophone.
Did you want one?
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Alto.
So you asked for one.
Yeah.
So maybe you just assumed you asked for one and it comes from the mail.
Here it is.
It just gets delivered. Interesting.
So in middle school, I started playing saxophone, and then I wanted to play bass, and then drums, and then guitar, and then accordion, and all these other fun things that, like, everything I get my hands on, I love to play. Like, I think there's just that thing, and Dave Grohl's just one of those people. You know, he's just another one of those people that, like, I love. Like, give me a trumpet, I'll learn how to play it. Give me this, because it's fun. Mm-hmm. If you're having fun and you have the time. So, like, what all do you play?
Play piano. I did play trumpet in middle school and high school. Always in the jazz band. I never wanted to do like marching band or anything. Mm-hmm. Jazz band was like the cool or pretentious version of the marching band.
You all just sat there.
I hear the words coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, if I were watching me, I wouldn't like me very much. But then in high school is when I picked up guitar, and that kind of became my default instrument until maybe 2 years ago when piano edged back in. But then guitar and bass. So
yeah,
did you ask for piano lessons, or did your parents like make you do that?
So I didn't ask for them. They kind of encouraged it early on. I think it came from a place of like, we read that like you'll get better math scores if you take piano lessons, and it wasn't like we want to foster a love of music in our child. Okay. Not that like my parents were that cynical. It was probably a mix of both. But then in middle school,
it's a win-win situation.
Yeah,
exactly. And then my sister quit. I think when she went into middle school, I remember my parents being like, you don't have to keep taking lessons if you don't want. But I liked my piano teacher so much, I was like, nah, I'm going to keep taking them. And I liked playing. Yeah. And then once I went to college, I kind of fell away from it, and I only started practicing with like intention like 2 years ago.
That's very cool. I know I was forced to for a little while in elementary school, and it was kind of the same vein of this is good for you academically as well as it's good to learn. Like if you can play piano, you can kind of maneuver into any music instrument, but I did not like it at all. It did not last long. So for you to have done it for so long, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody like through high school. That's really cool. And the same teacher, which I mean, that would explain sticking with it.
Exactly. What was your teacher like?
Oh, awful. She was an old lady. Yeah. It was awful. And my parents didn't care enough to be like, well, let's see if we could find somebody else. They were just like, she hates it. We're not going to force her to do this anymore.
That's what I was trying to tell her. Like I wouldn't say forced. I convinced her to watch Bloodsport finally.
Oh my God, the greatest Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. So good.
I've heard.
I've been telling her about this. How long have we been together?
13 years.
13 years? Yeah. 13 years I've been talking about Bloodsport.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
This year, like within a month, this past month or two, I have put together the fact of like, the older you get, the more resentful towards like parents and family sometimes you can get about like, of stuff like that, of like, why didn't you find me a better piano teacher? If this was so important and I didn't like this, why didn't you push it harder? Mm-hmm. Or why didn't you notice this? Or why didn't you see this? I was obsessed with Power Rangers, Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee, every kind of martial art you can imagine. The Quest, if you remember correctly.
I don't know The Quest.
It's an unofficial, technical, not really kind of sequel to the Bloodsport in a way.
Oh, I didn't even know that there was one.
He's not the same character essentially. He's an older man. He starts out as an old Jean-Claude Van Damme, and they take like a balloon at some point. That's another movie we're gonna have to watch.
Okay.
They take a ride. They take like a balloon ride at some point, and then it's the same thing. They go to a Kumite.
Mm-hmm.
It's on an island. They got to do a thing, and then
Mhm.
but that's what I love, and that's why I love UFC. It's not a bro thing. It's a thing where I'm like, I love the world competition for like what art is the best.
Well, it's also one-on-one. Like, you can only rely on yourself in that, and I think that's also one of the things for him from being the outside was he could not rely on other people. So when you're in a band, you have to rely on all these other people, and everyone he kept getting into bands with were just like, oh, this is just a hobby. Like, we're just doing this for fun. He's like, no, I'm trying to do something here. And then he's like, fuck
That's
it.
The most difficult part of playing is getting like approximately equal priorities and dedication. It's really hard.
Yeah. And that's where Dave Grohls are born. You know what I mean? Like,
because you just go,
like,
well,
fine, fuck it, I'll do it.
I'll do it all by myself.
Fuck it, I'll do it live. Hold on, I'll like drum, and then you get like Reggie Watts, and you get people that are like doing loop pedals and shit like that. That stuff that I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's more coordination. That's adding another level.
That's really, really artistic, and not that if you're in a multi-member band isn't talent, but if you can put something together like that, and then that's like thinking outside the box, so like loops and all of that.
Or that's like using technology to create like an entirely new style and sound of music, and that blows my mind.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And that's what I'm saying is like when I was younger, now I'm looking back at it, and I would think like, boy, I wonder if I should take him to like a karate lesson. Or I should do this or do,
looking back. Yeah.
And that's one of those things of where like, man, you should like, there was a long time I was obsessed with like karate stuff, kicking shit, like martial arts stuff, weird stuff, like kickboxing.
But you do that now, right?
Now he does, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what I was like, man, I wish I would have found this sooner.
He wish he would have done it.
Wait a minute. I found it. That's what I was saying is Bloodsport was my Disney movie. That was my kids movie. I watched Bloodsport, a VH again.
This explains so much.
I was watching Bloodsport, Time Cop, and Kickboxer, Universal Soldier, stuff like that. Like I was watching those movies. Last Dragon, with the second greatest martial arts movie of all time. With you haven't seen that? I think if you have, you would definitely know by probably any screen grab from it, but it's basically, it's almost like a blaxploitation version of like a martial arts movie.
That sounds cool.
It's honestly, it's unironically one of my favorite movies.
I'm actually writing it down so I don't forget about it.
Okay, yeah, Last Dragon.
I can watch it later.
It has a character. The bad guy in it is Sho'nuff. He's the Shogun.
Wait, didn't we see this?
He's the Shogun of Brooklyn. No, I showed you I mistakenly showed her the movie trailer for Last Dragon, and she did not want to watch it. So, depending on it, it looks like I would like it ironically. I don't like it ironically. It's like if Enter the Dragon met Coming to America. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean that sounds great.
and I am not overselling it. So that it's a really so like stuff like that. I was like really drawn to that stuff, and how much physical benefit I've got, how much mental benefit I've got, the lessons I've learned from it, all those things. Like I tried to take piano when I went to school for music production, and I hated it. So like, do you know what I mean? Like, so there's certain things that like it may be the teacher, it may be other things, but it's also like push a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like you may like it. That I wouldn't have benefited from it as much, but like even music lessons, I never took music lessons. I was always self-taught. I really wanted music lessons. You know, like
you did pretty good without them.
Well, you know, I'm no Dave Grohl. I didn't mean for it to be so Dave Grohl centric. I'm sorry.
I like Dave Grohl. Actually, I saw the Foo Fighters in like 2007 or 8, and that's the only time at a concert where I caught something that they threw out at the end of the show. I caught Taylor Hawkins' drumstick, but it was one of those drumsticks that's like a bunch of little sticks taped together so that it's quieter.
Oh,
like
how cool.
it's like one of those vivid memories it's like burned into my memory in high def. I remember like a few people were standing at the front as they were cleaning up, and a tech just grabbed a thing, he threw it up in the air, and I was standing right next to a speaker that was like waist high, and it landed directly on the speaker. And a lot of people, there was just this moment of time where we all were looking at it, and then I was just the first one to grab it, like so quickly.
Yep.
It wasn't like anybody else. You just like got it clean.
Yep.
I got it clean. Nobody else even touched it. But a lot of people saw it fall there and could have reached it, but like for
everyone
some reason,
just kind of like, who's gonna do it?
Wow. Yeah,
That's
and that's still in my bedroom in my parents' house in Pennsylvania.
So you moved out to LA from PA like directly, or did you like do any kind of half steps? Do you have any fun, like go to Arizona for a while, or?
So I went to Penn State for college, and then I moved directly. So you guys are in Central Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. Yep.
In Harrisburg?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I've driven through Harrisburg a few times because I moved to right outside of Baltimore after Penn State.
By York, right? Like near the, like we're not far. We're like probably like an hour maybe from Baltimore.
Oh, okay, cool. I lived in Glen Burnie, which is like the first town south of Baltimore, and it's notable for nothing.
Next time, same, basically place. Same here. Next time you come down, you should let us know. We'll get dinner or get some drinks or something like that, man.
Yeah, totally.
And you're more than welcome to stay. I know you have family, but you're more than welcome to stay, obviously. But
that sounds fun. I definitely want to hang out because like we've interacted a few times, like on like calls and podcasts and stuff. And even though we've never met in person, like I feel like we've been friends for a while. And now I'm feeling that way with Dominique.
It would be so like, I would like, again, I don't know we'll get in. Honestly, we've been not talking about anything Corona for like 32 minutes.
It's been so nice. Why did you bring it?
I know. Well, that's what I was going to say.
Ruined it.
Well, I was about to bring it up, but I didn't. So.
Well, because when you do come here, I want to give you fair warning. I want to hug you. I feel like if I saw you, I'd be like, oh, John, no, and I kiss you on the cheeks. And
hugging. I don't think we're ever going to hug again.
And I just grab the side of your face and I'd lick it.
Yeah.
It's a big lick just to know. So I want to get my scent on you.
Mentally prepped. I'm good to go.
So you grew up out here, or did you just went to school out here?
So I grew up closer to Pittsburgh in a town called Charleroi. I went to Penn State, then I moved to Baltimore for about 3.5 years. And eventually, I always kind of knew that was temporary. It was just like the one job I could find out of college. So I was a computer programmer there. Then friends moved away, and I was like, what am I doing here? So I moved home briefly to south of Pittsburgh, but then I moved out to Los Angeles to work for the Conan O'Brien show.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
Wait, for the Tonight Show or for the Conan O'Brien show?
For Conan. It was after TBS. So I started in early 2014.
Okay, nice. Hell yeah.
Basically,
awesome.
I was like searching for programming jobs in like Pittsburgh, New York. And the thing about programming jobs is they like make you do exams on the spot. You have to like write code on a chalkboard, and
oh wow,
they can be really difficult. And I was just like getting so nervous for every single one because I wanted a job so bad, and I was tanking them like catastrophically.
That would be me. There would be so much pressure that even though I would know it, like I would be like, I can do this if you give me this later, but I can't do this in front of you right now. Oh, I relate.
HTML.
I relate with that so much. You want me to what?
No, that's what it was like, especially the ones in New York. I wanted to move to New York so badly, and every interview I would show up and be like, this is it. This could be the one that like I can finally like move to New York and like be happy. This is what I need, which is like pressure you don't want to put on yourself going into an interview.
Yeah.
So I was
going into it.
Yeah.
No pressure. No pressure. No pressure.
Everything depends on this.
Yeah. So I would spend my days studying, and then at night I would give myself a break and I would just watch last night's episode of Conan on their website. And then like I noticed they had a job listings page, and the only job was web developer. And I was like, wait, I can do all the things that it lists as like qualifications. And I was like, I'll probably never hear, but I'll just apply just for fun. And then I applied and did hear back and interviewed over the phone. And then it was just like, oh, okay, I'm moving to Los Angeles because this is the job I got.
That is insane.
Yeah, it was nuts.
You'd be
How
surprised.
How cool is that?
You'd be surprised. And this is a message to anybody out there that's listening or watching, that if you if you think that they won't see it or they won't, just do it anyway.
Just do it.
Matter
Who cares? Yeah. What do you have to lose?
Even if you get a response that says, no, thanks, maybe next time, or we loved your stuff, but nah, or whatever, they saw it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like somebody.
Well, that happened to you. You sent out something, I think it was for a festival, and they actually gave him feedback. And it was like, thank you. Like, finally, because other people, and it's probably automated, and they probably are just like, nope, this is, whatever. We didn't choose you. So here's just an automatic email. But it was like, oh, perfect. Because that makes it worth it to go through, edit, film, send it out there. And if somebody just says like, hey, this, work on this a little bit more. But like she told them how to share it, like put it on YouTube, share the YouTube link. Yeah. And so then it was like, oh, that makes sense. That's way easier.
That was the funniest thing too, because that was the festival also then suggested me to a casting director for America's Got Talent. And then I was like, she's like, hey, why don't you go ahead and submit for this? Here's what you need for your video. Wear something that you would wear on TV. Be TV ready. And I'm like, I don't own anything that I would wear on it. If I get accepted to go on NBC, I'm gonna go buy a new fucking shirt. Yeah. I'm not gonna wear. I don't have anything that I would wear on TV right now. I would not wear anything I own on TV. Not at all. Look at me. What the fuck are you talking about? so I totally understand.
My closet are merch shirts, so I get
it. Yeah, exactly. I realized, by the way, we have a picture of us at Busch Gardens from our honeymoon, and we did a staycation, and we I was wearing yesterday. I was wearing the shirt that I'm wearing in the Flume ride picture that we have, and I was like, is that good or bad?
From 10 years ago. And I was like, I don't know. I think it's fine.
I mean, I know.
I was like, I still have that shirt that I was wearing. So
I know it's cool. It's Tim and Eric. So I know it's a cool shirt. So I know I'm okay.
We're not going to get rid of them.
But it's like one of those things that like, it's not worn out, but I wouldn't wear it outside. So I totally understand that. Not updated. I have basically everything I wore in high school still.
Same. I have a lot. It takes a lot for me to get rid of a t-shirt, especially a band shirt.
Yeah, it took me years because I was always that person that was going to make a quilt. Like I'm gonna make a quilt with these, and I held on to them for 10 years. This year I started getting rid of some. I'm like, I'm not really gonna do anything with this, and it does not fit. Like, why am I holding on to this?
Yeah. My old roommate actually did that with his shirts. He made a quilt. Turns out the quilts that you make with those, not that comfortable.
Yeah. I think it would be something that you would like hang on the wall, You just have it as a backdrop. It's just like, I remember that. Memories.
Yeah. So you said former roommate. Are you shacked up alone on this?
I am.
Yeah.
And
how's that?
I'm actually doing great. I love it. Like,
man.
I've been lucky to have like very good roommates in my life, but I much prefer living alone.
Yeah.
Like in Baltimore, I lived with two very close friends from college, and then they moved out and I was alone for a year. That was fine. When I moved to LA, I moved into a Craigslist apartment with two actresses for a year. And like, it was fine,
scary.
But for the
I'd be so scared to move cross country and a Craigslist thing, like, ugh.
It was weird. Like it's such a big life decision, but I never put that much thought into it.
Good.
Because
look at you now.
Because I was so over Baltimore, and that last year I was kind of pretty depressed and like I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I felt very stuck there. So it was just like any option seemed good. And there was not a lot of debate into like taking this job and moving across the country. So I just did it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just figure out a way to make it work.
That's awesome.
So
two actresses.
Two actresses, and they're both great. I'm still friends with them, but after a year, I found this place. I've been here for 5 years.
Awesome.
Was it like, okay? So this is a thing. Not trying to sound like a small, like a technically small town boy from Florida, but was it part of it? Like, were they practicing scenes? Were they like crying? Were they like? Was it like that stuff? Like
one morning at 8 a.m., I wake up to hysterical screaming and crying. I run out into the kitchen. I'm like, is everything okay? And then my one roommate is there with her friends, and they have scripts in their hands and they're doing lines. They're just like, yeah, like looking at me like I'm the idiot. Like I'm sorry. awakened. I've never heard you guys practice lines this early, and you're screaming bloody murder. And why would I just be like, oh, okay, and like roll over?
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's your motivation. Have a little compassion for your sleeping roommate, you asshole. Good night. So yeah, I think the same thing. And we're actually, it's funny, we just unpacked our new bed that we purchased during this whole quarantine.
Ooh, what bed did you get?
We got a no free plug. Actually, honestly, I will say their name because this is so far not a great experience that we're having. But oh fuck, what was it?
Nectar.
Oh, okay.
It's
I call Lisa, and I don't love that either. So
it's like the third tier. It's like the third, or like when you go, like when you search.
It was a really good deal.
Bed.
You got pillows, you got a sheet, like a mattress protector,
a
sheet set, and the frame. So it was, it was a really good deal.
It was like 12 or 13, something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember. Something like it was. We got the Cali King. You know, we like to splurge. You know, treat yourself.
Yeah,
hey, that important. Extra leg room.
Also,
people neglect the frame, but I'm going to say, don't sleep on the bed frame. Heyo. God, that was terrible. This is why I don't do that.
And you're only halfway through that thing. She was the one. This was also 13 years of marriage. This is the first piece of furniture either one of us have ever purchased.
Brand new.
Just acquired all the previous ones from like.
I actually have a joke in my act that where I say I've had 6 couches in my lifetime. I've officially purchased 0 couches in my lifetime. I just have a lot of friends with free garbage and some other friends with trucks.
My couch in my living room is my boss's. It was free.
Yeah. I mean, couches are a lot better.
Yeah.
Beds, not you know.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to hear a crazy bed story?
Yes, please.
So I move into this apartment with 2 actresses, and because so I moved on a leap year at the end of February. I didn't take extra leap day into account, so they said, "All right, you can move in March 1st." I show up on February 29th because I didn't do my math right, and they were like, "Okay, well, we didn't think you were going to get here tomorrow. You can like sleep on the couch." So I did, and I wake up the next morning, and the third girl's moving out, and she's like, "I'm going to take my mattress out to the sidewalk unless you want to buy," she's just like, "Do you want to buy this mattress?" I'm like, "Sure, I don't have one." So I didn't even think about like what that might mean if it's grungy or not.
Yeah.
So I gave her $50. I'm like, all right, I don't have to get a mattress and a bed frame. So it was very convenient. Then, I'm there for a couple months and we're talking, and
I have to point out real quick. I'm sorry. That's 2 red flags immediately.
Wait.
Just think about any other time that you've ever possibly bought a mattress. Has it ever started out with somebody coming up to you and saying, "Do you want to buy this mattress?" No. And then the second one where they go $50 and you go, "Deal."
Again, this is in the period of time where I wasn't thinking about things too deeply.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. I'm sorry. I just noticed that. I was just like, wait a minute. Do you want
your
this?
instincts are totally correct, because one of the roommates, like a couple months later, told me like, "Oh yeah, she wasn't the first owner of that mattress." And I was like, "What?" So I was at least the third, if not fourth owner. But I then found out, are you guys familiar with the show You're the Worst?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's the one where I've seen the commercial. It's where the 2 people that are dickheads have sex with each other.
I think so. And I haven't watched it, but one of the actresses on that show, her name is Heather something. And I later found out that she lived in this apartment and was one of the owners of this mattress.
Oh my God.
So I slept on the mattress of a TV star.
That's amazing.
Is that one of your credits?
Yeah, put that on Wikipedia. That's awesome.
I would totally do that.
I've slept with her.
Dude, I tried to legitimately put like a New Jersey Devils apparent, like I was in the crowd as a Lightning fan.
Oh yeah.
I was at a New Jersey Devils fan. And I was on the game feed for the Lightning game, and I tried to put that on my. It didn't work.
Wait, so you're a Devils fan?
No, he's a Lightning fan, but he went.
Lightning fan.
That's how I got on TV, was because I was in the Devils arena in Lightning gear, and they're like, look at this dummy. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, so where's my money, Hollywood? I'm still waiting for the residge, but
Was Brodeur in goal that night?
No, but I did see that legend play. I did see it play.
In Tampa.
In Tampa, yeah. With
cool.
Yager, yeah.
Yeah, Yager too.
I'm a diehard Pens fan, so there's always going to be a soft spot in my heart for Yager.
Well, there's the friendship. It's gone.
Why?
Had a good run.
Yeah.
Oh, just because he's a Flyers fan?
No, because he said Pens.
No, I am.
Pens.
She just blocked it. That's how.
Yeah. No.
She would rather the Flyers.
Turn the video
really?
on. Yeah, I would definitely rather Flyers. Yeah, not a fan of the.
But you do. So you do like the sports though. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's
you
good.
mentioned
that's
it earlier
important.
about the beer having your whole.
Yeah, I've fallen off in recent years. I think part of it is that like not living in Pennsylvania, you don't have easy access to watching all the games.
Yes.
Like,
I'll give you my NHL
game,
password when it comes back. I'll give you the NHL password so you can sign in. You can watch your home games if you want, pal.
Oh, I appreciate that. I think actually through work I might have a way to watch it this coming season. But they always like black out certain games. And then if you have like I don't have cable or anything, so like then a lot of the games get blacked out, which is really annoying. So I think that has kind of led to me falling away from sports. But like when I lived on the East Coast, it was every Steelers and Penguins game was on the TV and I was watching it. So.
Have you done any Kings games or anything?
I've gone to a few whenever the Penguins play an away game. I'll go, yeah.
Yeah, we had season tickets when we lived in Florida. So we constantly watched hockey. And then we moved up here. So it's not as fun because you don't have like your team around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we enjoyed it. Like we've gone to see, we saw them play the Capitals. And that was such a fun game. We've seen them play.
This is actually
Philly.
a great thing. I know you haven't, like you said, you haven't kept up a lot, but have you seen? I think it was a highlight. It's a highlight reel goal of Kucherov doing this no touch thing, no look shot. It was 1-on-1 with him and Holtby. It's basically where he's just going like this. He just doesn't touch it at all, and it just goes right through it. Like he just is like fakes him out. Just
I'm going to need you to send that to me so I can see it because
it was like I
love Holtby fails.
It was one of those things where like it was part of like production. It was part of like advertisement for the next season. Like, they're saying like, hey, you love all the action of hockey. They're like, and that's one of them. And I'm like, I love when my team can do something like that because it always was us. It was always like it was Malkin usually.
Yeah.
Just walking through 5 people, just going like, bleep, 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 like just kind of like nothing. Like it was an Instagram challenge. Like, like there was no real challenge for him. Like, beat that, that professional hockey franchise. Yeah, nobody else can do that. And that's what's so frustrating. It's effortless. Like the reason, like Crosby and stuff like that. I don't understand the things that he does. Because it doesn't make sense, like in just physics.
I think if I were to start playing hockey now, and in 10 years I got very comfortable with it, when I stepped onto the ice, I would not be seeing the same things that Sidney Crosby sees.
No, yeah,
like he has a understanding of the game that's at an innate level that's just like mind blowing. A lot of pro players have that.
But even that.
But he's the Tom Brady of hockey, where it's like everyone hates you. You're really
Speaking
good.
Of Tampa Bay.
You're really good at this, and you make it so seem so easy.
He just I remember like the last couple games that I watched, because I usually I can only watch honestly a lot of the games because we also don't have cable, so a lot of the times they're blacked out for us here. We can't watch on the NHL network.
Which sucks because this is our division. Yeah. So when the Lightning play, they're playing here. And then it's like, shit, we can't see it.
So a lot of times, like, but if I ever watch, like I feel like the last outdoor game they played, there was some ridiculous thing where he was just standing near the net. The puck came near him and he like just swung his stick like this, hit it with like the shaft, and it went like over the goalie's shoulder, like it like spun. It was like every time it looks like it's choreographed.
Yeah,
it's
like CGI perfection.
Insanity. And I feel like it's definitely odds. Like I feel like it's a weird thing where he's just like, no, if you stand here and just whack it, 98% of the time.
Hey, it's working. So if that is his method, go with it, because it's.
Oh, this is so this is actually perfect because we just bought some new cereal today.
Oh,
you know what I picked up? I picked up some cereal for the old wife there when I was at IKEA today doing some grocery shopping where, you can only go one way.
Okay.
And I picked her up some Ovios.
Some Ovios?
Yeah. Do you know what Ovios are?
Ovechkin?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not Wheaties. Like, he's not on a Wheaties box.
Not on Wheaties. No, he
has his own cereal.
All right, that's crazy for two reasons. Well, I mean, I guess Ovi he is incredible. He's really good. His shot is terrifying. When he takes a hard shot, like I would never want to be that goalie.
Yeah.
When he's in the hardest shot competition every year and he's competing with like defensemen, you're like, oh yeah, he's got a real good shot. He's got a hard shot.
I feel like with him, like why you can't put him in the same like lane as Crosby is he's been playing for so long and he's like only just recently even made it to the I almost said Super Bowl. Jesus. Stanley Cup.
Quarantine.
So like, that's why it's also like everybody hates Pittsburgh because it's not just Crosby. Like they have made it, but with Ovechkin, it's just kind of like, you're such a good player. You should go to a better team.
Yeah.
We do have a shared hatred in Steve Yzerman, though. I will say that. Fucking traitor.
But it's crazy that you're in the region to like have OVOs in your stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're like two states technically separated from DC.
Even that's what we were saying about like the NHL, the app that we have. Like we have I love it. Honestly, as far as most of the as compared to like the Sirius XM app, the NHL app is like is a complete 180. It's like everything that it's not. It's like user friendly. It works great. I love the radio app, so I can listen to like even Lightning home broadcast stuff like that. If you can't watch the video, you can listen to the games. But we are blacked out from Pittsburgh games, Philly games, New Jersey Devils games. We are blacked out from and Capitals games.
We can't get New York.
No, I don't think we can. Well, no, yeah, we can watch.
We can't. No,
we can watch. No,
Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that was a rough one.
Dude, that's a funny story. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but that was a funny story. I was in Columbus. I was doing a comedy show in Columbus, and it was not long. It was like the week after, it was the weekend after we got swept by Columbus. Just
the first round, everyone picked us to win the Stanley Cup.
We were number one team last year. All this other stuff.
Won the President's Trophy, and then we got swept. Yeah.
And I was wearing. I have a hat that kind of looks like the Unsolved Mysteries logo, but it says it's just a USA hockey hat, and it just looks. I just love it. It's a nice hat. It's a snapback, so I can whatever.
Yeah.
I'm wearing this hat, and this lady comes up and she goes, "Oh, do you like hockey?" And I look up, and she has like a Blue Jackets hat on, and I go, "Do you?" and I was like,
"Oh my god,
what a burn!"
Yeah.
And then I started the set out by saying like, "Oh, Columbus." I was like, "Yeah, you guys swept the and for what? For what? What are you gonna do with it?
Yeah,
you're not gonna win the next round or whatever.
Yeah, you fucking losers you got swept for yourself. You fucking losers and all that. And I just kept like
he went. Yeah. And I wasn't there, but I heard all about it.
Did not go well on that one.
Oh, that's great.
But sorry, we got so sidetracked. Were you happy for Ovi when he won this cup?
As much as it pains me to admit this as a Penguins fan, I was, because like I root for pretty much any individual unless they're a real scumbag. And like, I don't like Dan Marino, amazing quarterback. It bums me out to think about that. He never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like third string guys on like, some team that just barely eked it in and won, like they get a Super Bowl ring and like Dan Marino doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. Like I know like, he has millions of dollars and Hall of Fame widely regarded, but like, I wish he got a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but 100%. Also he's known for that. That's the thing that bums you out. Is he's such a great guy. He's such an incredible football player. He broke records.
But to work like when you're a kid playing Pop Warner flag football, you're thinking of the Super Bowl. The same thing with like when you're doing hockey. when you're flying hockey.
Is this the second glass? I don't know.
That is the third.
That's red Moscato.
Nice.
Just to let you know what she's drinking.
But like that's what you're thinking about the whole time. Like that's why you put in so much work, because you're like, oh, I want to get there. I don't know too much. Did Dan Marino ever make it to a Super Bowl? Okay, he made it there. Just never.
Perfect season, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it was
undefeated season.
Undefeated season. Yeah. I think
wow.
That was the thing. Is everybody, and so that's another thing. Is he never won a Super Bowl, but there were times where people were comparing him to Tom Brady. Because they had the undefeated season going in, all that other stuff. Like, there's something about, and that's the same thing is, because Ovi was a rival of ours. That's what you know, like you say, as
for a while,
Washington was in the Southeast Division. Thank you very much in the NHL. So, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying it happened.
But yeah, I remember like every playoff, it was them and then Montreal, or Montreal and then Washington. It was like constantly back and forth.
Yeah,
or Philly even. That was another one. But
Philly was thrown in a little bit, but not.
But that was the thing. Was it? I learned to hate him early. Like every time he touched the puck, the whole arena was
boo.
I hated that guy. Like all this shit. And then but then you see him win, and then you see him with his son this year.
I was so happy when he won.
Yeah. The celebration of it. Like I wanted. It's almost like we were saying earlier with the performance of like, I believed that he really did always want that. Like it's not just about him.
So I want to point out something that I found very interesting when we had that great President's Trophy Cup win. Like 75% of the team had just had kids. So they were so pumped up. They were like all like the rallying, the wives were all together because they were all having kids at the same time. The year Ovechkin wins the Stanley Cup, he had his firstborn son. So like, I think there's something there. Just saying.
Yeah.
So maybe if you want to have a kid, then maybe like your comedy career will
I don't know.
There's like that parental
skyrocket. Yeah, because you just go into, and actually listening to where my mom's at with Christina P. I
love Christina P.
Yeah, me too.
I'm obsessed with her.
I love her. But she had Tom Segura on, and he talked about that. Like she was like, that is one thing that like seemed very like primal, where when they found out they were pregnant, he was like, okay, like it's go time. I'm going to like make as much money as I possibly can. So you just get this, I think, as a male, like you have this provider type instinct.
I gotta tell you right now, I'm gonna poo-poo this right away. If all it took to win was to have kids, the New York Jets would not be in the situation they're in.
Well, you have to.
Cromartie had how many kids? He was like a George Foreman level of kids. Like he had that many level of kids.
Oh man!
And they could not win a game.
You just crushed my theory.
It's the person. It's still the person. You can't just go like try to. So what you just suggested was, hey, if you want to succeide, try having a kid.
Yeah.
Do not put that out on the podcast, please.
That is dangerous. You're right. I'm so sorry. But I just found that interesting.
Let's just put let's put an asterisk on this and just say, if you are an elite athlete,
you're right.
Please have one child and just give it a shot.
Yeah. Very irresponsible. So if you're just on the cusp of greatness, then maybe have kids.
You need that push.
Yeah. You just need that little push. Not when you're in high school.
Yeah, not now.
Mom, I'm gonna be
not
great.
If you want to pass a test. This final is really important. I gotta pass this final. Come here. Cream pie. We got way off of hockey.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, you're right. That is a thing. And Crosby, I don't think has any kids.
No, he doesn't.
So he's obviously a failure.
So yeah.
Crosby's always been fascinating to me in that he's so good at hockey, like inhumanly good at hockey. And then you put a microphone in front of his face, and he's the most boring human being ever. Like, I've never seen him do an interview or anything where I was like, oh, that was an interesting thing that he said. It's just like,
when you see
maybe
Tiger
you can only
Woods
be like really good at one thing like that.
When you're that good at one thing, that's all you're good
it's
at.
like when you see Tiger Woods and you're like, there's no way this guy could get any duller. You're like, oh yeah, give us a little bit of time.
Well, that's one of the things that annoys me during intermissions in hockey. They bring the players out and interview him. I'm like, he can barely catch his breath. He's sweating. Give him a minute. Why are you interviewing him right now? Like, God.
And there's only like 3 scenarios. It's like A, we're tied. B, we're down and we need to do better.
Right.
Or C, we're in the lead and we need to maintain it. There's nothing else. Those conversations happen in every professional sports game. And the answer has never deviated from those 3 options.
Right. Why are we doing this?
Like everybody's playing as hard as they can.
How you feeling? How you feeling right now? Are you tired? Like,
what are you thinking about?
What do you think?
Like I understand you got to like fill the air and like hold people's attention. But
just keep,
I don't know. There's got to be another way.
Yeah, like do the Zamboni rides or do like the riding a tricycle on the ice. Like do more of that.
Bring out the little munchkins to play like the 5-year-old kids who play the game.
Yes.
I get so excited watching the little kids in intermission.
I'm so glad you said that because that's the thing is for the most part I am very annoyed by little kid things like little kid like stuff where they're like, isn't this cute? It's like, no, not usually. I don't give a shit about the Charlie thing. I don't give a fuck about if he bit your finger or whatever. I don't care.
Charlie.
But when they bring the little munchkins out, or I can't remember what they call them.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Like Pee-wees or.
Well, yeah, I think that, but I feel like the arena like called them something. I can't remember.
But whatever they were for the team, but it doesn't matter. It is you're rooting for them, and you can't imagine the feeling of those little kids.
The equipment doesn't even fit them. Like they're just like flailing around on the ice.
No, but like get a few beers in me. I'm screaming for the goalie there, just like I'm screaming for Fleury or Murray or whoever's in net at the pro.
I would watch a full game of that. I would rather that, like in the middle of the intermission of the, how they do the Puppy Bowl for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather they have that as the intermission for the Stanley Cup instead of Pierre and all the other idiots. So I know it's been about an hour. It's an hour. It's been an hour already.
I thought we just hopped on.
I know. This is like, all right, let's get into the show. All right, let me hit record real quick.
But again, no COVID. Just gonna throw that out there.
I don't give a shit. This is a COVID free. This is a best of episode already. Yeah. This is a timeless episode that can happen at any point, except for the fact that times that we've mentioned COVID.
We've mentioned it,
but
there's got to be a way for me to tank it in the final minutes.
Oh yeah. Well,
we can. I mean, because it's reality. And the other thing that I would like to ask, because you are on the other coast. So what
what time is it there?
Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
It is 7:11 right now.
We're so close to New York.
And the sun is just setting.
Well, nice. Yeah. But we're so close that it's very heavy here. It feels heavy. How are you guys feeling over there?
Los Angeles was one of the first places to really react strongly to things. So it's kind of very much become like normal to wear like gloves and masks the moment you leave the house. And that was kind of mandated early on. And, starting to get used to it. People are starting to get a little lackadaisical about like social distancing and masks and everything. But it's still pretty serious. The highways are still like shockingly empty.
Yeah.
So to that degree.
Yeah.
And you're working still, right? You said, are you working from home or are you working?
I'm working from home.
Nice.
I haven't been in the office in, over 2 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
We just realized it's 43 for us. It's been 40. No, it hasn't been 43 days since we've been not working, but since we've been basically home, I think.
Yeah, but it's been like 54.
Yeah, since everything we love stopped. Yeah. Sorry, that's how we should put it. Since everything we love stopped.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than really not going into the office, my life hasn't changed too much. I'm very much an indoor cat. All of my hobbies are pretty much indoor activities. I've been doing a lot of music. I'm recording original music for the first time in my life.
Awesome.
A 3-song EP. Probably going to lay down some bass tracks after we're done here.
Hell yeah.
doing my own Dave Grohl thing in the apartment.
Yeah. Why don't we call it a Trent Reznor thing? We'll call yours a Trent Reznor thing because I think yours is going to be a little more edgier.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Didn't he also do it? Didn't Trent Reznor? Nine Inch Nails was the same thing, right?
Oh yeah. It was. I'm just trying to think if it's edgy or not.
Yeah, he's trying.
Not really. No, it's kind of morbidly goofy. That's the way I would describe it.
I was going to say, yeah, you
Nice.
did just introduce. You just said you were an indoor cat, so probably not too dark. Maybe I'm a little kitty cat, but you know.
Actually, every song involves death in some way, and they're not actually funny. So you know what? You're probably closer with the Trent Reznor thing.
Dude, boom, there it is, right there. 9-song, a full-length album. There you go. 9-song, 9 lives. You're the cat. That's the album. But yeah, sorry.
Well, all right. As a comedian, I want to ask you a question.
Please.
Do you ever think of a joke or something that's like maybe more revealing personally about you than like you would ever be in conversation? And do you get self-conscious about that?
Yes. I mean, I did at some point. I don't know if I still get too self-conscious about sometimes, but I do. There is a lot of times. There's a lot of times where I'll say like, "Is this just me?" Like this perspective, like because one of those things of like, I do have those same thoughts and feelings of like this. Have you ever noticed like that kind of thing? But it's like, have you ever noticed that sometimes I think my wife folds the clothes wrong just to piss me off? Like, no, nobody thinks that. But I know
I don't think
but
that.
I know that that's where the comedy is like, oh, okay, so cool.
Yeah.
Like I've turned like I've been able to like I think realize in the moment of like it's not just wrong. Like I know that the thought I'm not wrong for having the thought,
Mm-hmm.
but the thought is one of those things of like, no, that's not everybody, that's just you.
Yeah.
That's why I always tell people when they say like, can I get your opinion on something, like you shouldn't use me as your bar.
Yeah.
Because I'm very skewed a lot of times. Like again, the blood sport thing, the pro I was on a game show a buddy of mine, Lemaire Lee, does. He's doing it. He did
I
it
heard
out
you
of,
talking about that on a previous episode.
yeah. I did Feud, and it was
Yeah.
where I had to support my bad opinion, and my opinion the one that I was introduced with was the fact that I was pro Rona. We stand to benefit from where we're living. Financially, we're going to benefit, like literally. I understand people are dying, but they were doing that before, and now I'm going to make some money.
And it's not like you caused coronavirus.
No. I'm just benefiting.
You probably wouldn't even choose to cause it, but it happened.
If you ask me a million times, Pat, I'll give you and Dom, I'm going to give you $2,400. Oh, by the way, also my student loans that were in forbearance, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're forgiven in these times of need, and so we got our tax return, so that's some more money. So you know what I mean? Like we're like, there's times I'm a scumbag, I'm a piece of shit. I understand that, but it's also like if you ask me a million times, Pat, we will kill. What is it? What are we at? You're asked the counting number. 240,000. What are we at? 3,000.
For
dead.
Deaths, we're over 60,000.
60,000 dead. We will kill 60,000 dead. If you and Dom, you'll get $2,400. I would say no every time.
And the world's not like PA.
That's how I know I'm a good. Yeah, not just PA.
Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure like that's not PA.
That's not our body.
Yeah.
But
No,
that's how I know I'm a good person. But one of those things of like, hey, if I'm having a good time because I get to spend a lot of quality time with my cats and my wife. And I get to play PlayStation and fucking hang out.
But that is not the situation for most people.
Exactly.
Totally.
That's the part that I always need to remember to acknowledge is the fact that like, no. Like that's your situation.
Yeah.
That's not
everybody's situation.
But yeah, I do see what you mean.
Yeah.
Last question for you, just real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if we've ever talked about it exactly, but I don't know if you're a NoFX fan, but did you see the NoFX live with the Decline live with the full orchestra at Red Rock?
I've watched one or two videos on YouTube, but I've not seen the full thing, and I need to.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because I know even if you're not, like I would say this, if you are a hard music fan or you are a music fan of any sort, like you call yourself, if you're one of those people that call yourself a music nerd, just check it out. It's fucking cool.
We'll see any performance great. There.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, exactly. At Red Rock. Exactly.
Yeah, at Red Rock, but stunning.
But it was multiple times it gave me goosebumps. Multiple times. I'll say it a million times over. They are my favorite band, but I will never say that they are the best band. But
that's how I feel about all my favorite bands.
Yeah.
So so what would have you? So you haven't seen it yet?
I've not seen it.
Oh man,
is it? How new is it?
That came out during within the past couple of weeks. They released.
Oh, okay. All right, then that makes it. That's why it popped up on my YouTube feed.
Yeah, it should be for free. I did. However, I did pay for it. I paid for the audio version because I wanted to support. I bought the and plus it's one of my favorite songs I think of all time. But
which song?
Did the Decline? I love that.
Oh, that's the long one.
Yeah.
How long is that song?
I believe it's 16 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. It's
crazy,
especially for somebody like them, somebody that's like them that says like has such a self-deprecating kind of outlook of saying like we suck, we're garbage.
Well, playing that on tour,
yeah,
insane. Why would you do that?
And I'll probably cut this out because this is a little bit. This was kind of weird. Actually, I probably won't. It doesn't matter. But we did a conference call today where we were working on that project that we're the same one that we were doing before.
Oh yeah,
with Eric, and there was a person on the call that was in one of the bands that's like on my wall. So far,
I think I know who it is.
because of the hard times, there is two different times now that there has people that I've worked with that have been that hang on my wall already existing that I'm already an existing fan of.
Isn't it fucking crazy?
And they started that show out by playing The Decline. They said, "I hope you went to the bathroom. This song is kind of long." That's how they introduced it, and everybody went, "What?" And they started out with a 16-minute. Yeah, it's amazing that is, and now I'm talking ideas with the same person that is.
It's pretty cool.
Signed by the person that wrote that song. You know what I mean? Like that. Even those things. Like what the fuck, man? Like that is something that I don't know where exactly I was going with that, but that's where music fandom can get you.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Absolutely. Through the hard times, I acquired. This is like a weird humble brag thing, and I don't mean to brag about it, but I'm just illustrating how strange it is. And that like a few musicians who I've admired a lot through my whole life now follow me on Instagram because of ways I've finagled Instagram to like really play up my hard timesness. And now it makes me so self-conscious anytime I post something, but they always tend to like the things. And I'm like, dude, I feel like I saw you when I was in high school and you're liking my Instagram.
That's so cool.
Do they ever slide in the DMs?
Not yet. One comments pretty frequently if it's guitar related.
Nice. Hell yeah. Because that's what I'm saying is I will say this, you should be proud of it and you shouldn't be embarrassed at all or self-conscious because I've tried to do the same thing. I tried to make a person a friend after I was just like, so do you want to be friends on social media? And they're just.
Did you say that, or did you just send them a friend request?
Or did they follow
husband,
you?
You.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ask them, do you want to be my friend on this?
No.
I've also done that and been rejected. There's a person, I'll tell you after the mic, somebody who did not accept my friend
I was just going to say, there is somebody that left me on red that I'm a little bit pissed off about.
Oh, yeah.
I bet it's the same person. But we'll
we'll find out. So you know what? We'll just wrap it up here.
That's a good point.
Do you have anybody or do you have anything to anywhere? Yeah. So JJ Danek on
at JJ Danek. Spotify. If you type in Danek, you'll scroll down and find a picture of me.
Look for the new album
when it comes out. There's just one song up there now, but there'll be some original music there soon.
Oh, it's awesome.
Still writing hard time stuff, and follow Team Coco on social media. Keep me employed.
Hell yeah.
You got it. Yes.
Yeah.
I love Team Coco.
At wife _George for you, my darling wife. And then at PG Comedian, follow me and her. Subscribe to all the podcasts and the YouTube channel, Baby Mermaids Networks. And John, thanks so much for being on the show, man.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
This is a lot of fun. We're going to do this again.
We love you.
Yes.
We definitely love you.
We love you.
Bruce.